Miami entered Friday night undefeated and number 2 in the country without a ranked team, though, left on their schedule to play. The Hurricanes, though, found themselves in a difficult situation at home against Louisville, a team that had never won against a top 10 opponent on the road. We say that to set the scene for Louisville not messing around. Jeff Brohm saying opening drive, 4th and 2, forget the field goal, I want a fake. No touchdown here from David Chapeau, but he would get the first down. The very next play, Miller Moss dialing up his number, a college tush push, Cardinals up 7-0 just like that.
Then Moss hits Chris Bell over the middle of the field, shows you that Greenville, Mississippi speed right here on a nice slant route, takes it all the way for a touchdown, cruises in for a score. Cardinals up 14-0. Next, Miami's down 14-zip. Mark Fletcher hammers it in the 2-yard, at the 2-yard line. Canes down 14-7.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, pick this up. Louisville up 17-13. Moss dishes it off to Chris Bell again, who takes it 36 yards for the score. Cardinals up 24-13. Still in the fourth. Miami down 24-13. Malachi Tony on the end around into the end zone. Canes down just 3, 24-21.
They need a 2-point conversion right here, KC. Who they call? Tony once again going back to his high school days as he finds C.J. Daniels on the connection here. Complete dime and then back. They already in field goal range, but they're looking for the go-ahead score. And this is tipped at the line of scrimmage and picked off by T.J. Capers as Miami lose this one big. Carson Beck, 4th interception of the day, career high. Big upset down in Florida.
Tough look for him, tough look for Miami, who now have to lick their chops and find a way to get back right after they fall to Louisville at home on a Friday night where Miami Gardens was rocking. They were hoping to get things going for the number 2 team in the country. Emory, it had been a long time since they were ranked that high in the AP poll. Now they take a L. How shocked, how surprised are you? And just, we did not think this would be happening.
Right, because I thought at the end of the day, Miami's defense was going to be able to hold them in this ball game until their offense figured it out. I maybe thought the offense would sputter, but the defense will keep them in the game enough to where they can create the spread of being up 14 points in this contest. But Louisville went out there and out Miami, and that's why they won this ball game, especially in stopping the run. 24 carries, 63 yards, 2.6 yards a carry. That's not going to get it done at any level of football.
Miami lost this game in every comparable category that you could bring up. You want to bring up total yards. You want to bring up time of possession. You want to bring up the turnover battle. This is a classic recipe. I mean, you don't have to look very far. But to me, when you're talking about your season, everyone has to do their job. Everyone has to win a game for you at one point. At some point, your offensive line has to win the game. At some point, your defense has to win a game. At some point, your running game has to win a game. And sometimes your quarterback just has to go out and be superhuman. Tonight, even though we saw a poor showing from Carson Beck, this wasn't his game to necessarily lose, okay? To me, the offensive line did not provide enough rushing yards on early downs, which made Carson Beck have to resort to this on 3rd down. Way too many long conversions for Carson Beck to have to make something miraculous happen. Now, he was a little bit hasty, made some bad reads and threw some ill-advised passes off his back foot because of pressure. But to me, the stage was set in the wrong way. I mean, when you get out-rushed, when you get out-Miami'd, so to speak, when you lose on both sides of the ball up front, you're putting tremendous pressure on your quarterback and the other members of your skill positions to make things happen in spite of what you're not doing up front. And that's not how a Mario Cristobal team is supposed to be built. This is not their identity this season. When you get outdone doing what you do in terms of your MO, that's a bad sign.
You talk about Mario Cristobal, and each year, which makes me so not all in on Miami being the U is back, it's because he has these type of games. Last year, started off 9-0, and the wheels completely fell off on this team. And not saying this is going to happen this year with this one loss versus Louisville, but you go back and look at the lack of performance that they had on the offensive side of the ball, starting with Carson Beck. Career high, 4 interceptions. And yes, some of that is a testament to not being able to get the running game going in early downs, finding yourself in a lot of drop back passing situations that's not ideal for no quarterback in no type of situation. But then you flip on the defense side of the ball. I think Miami defense ultimately just wore down because they was on the field so much. Louisville dominated the time of possession almost 3-1. And I don't care what type of defense you are or who you are, that's going to be hard in the fourth quarter on you, especially in the running game. But they showed up when the moment was the biggest. Miami defense. Carson Beck just threw his 3rd interception. The very next play, they got a fumble recovery on
that you called.
That I completely called as we was watching that in the bullpen. But And when it came down to it, already in field goal range, clearly I want to go for the go-ahead score to win this game, but Carson Beck made another mistake. Even without that pass being tipped at the line of scrimmage, that was going to be a pick. So another bad read on an early down where it's no one to point fingers at other than the quarterback.
When you look at it from a 10,000-foot level, you talked about defense stepping up in key ways. That's a plus. But also you look around and say, who's the guy that wants to win? Malachi Toney was the only guy offensively, in my opinion, for Miami that showed up. He even threw a touchdown pass in this game or a two-point conversion. We saw that as well. But when you look at who's the guy, you normally want to look at the quarterback and let him lead from the front. But you're looking at a true freshman wide receiver to lead.
Just turned 18 a few days ago.
Just turned 18, and he's the big dog on offense. And defensively, they did enough to stay in the game, gave you a chance to go down and be the hero, and you didn't. So Miami has to look for help at quarterback and say, hey, man, you got to step up. You need it from your coaching staff. They weren't locked into the game, too. So it was just tough to see that manifest itself out there on the field.
And their schedule's not going to really help them because you look ahead and you say, there are no ranked teams here to be found to help maybe your case become stronger for the CFP moving forward. And we had this talk a year ago with Miami, Kevin. They were 9-0, and then they lost 3 of their final 4 with Cam Ward, the #1 pick in the NFL draft. It's Carson Beck running the show. He's not as good. No disrespect to him, though. I say it respectfully. I ask you, though, what do you make of this Miami team? Do you trust them? Because they have no wiggle room.
Well, you know what? We always take our reactions from how you play on Saturday, right? I was going to say on Sunday, but like how you play on Saturday is everything. Game day execution, and that points to the coach. So if you're asking if I trust Mario Cristobal, I don't trust him past this moment. I don't trust him past his own MO of getting out of his own way. Cardell just brought it up so eloquently. This has happened before where they have been in the driver's seat in their division, in their conference, and they lose a game they have no business losing, like this one to Louisville tonight. And there's really no excuse for it. And you're looking for inspiration. You're looking for playmakers, leaders on your team, and you're getting it from a freshman wide receiver. So that is a problem. So to me, yes, do I trust him? No, not past what he's done in the past, because the same result has happened. I mean, James Franklin got fired, right? They say you can't win the big game. There are reoccurring themes with people that you have to hold them accountable for, and this is one of them. So the players on this team, the coaches, are all going to turn around and look at Mario Cristobal, because that's where your inspiration and your culture is going to come from.
Yeah, he is who we thought he was at the sort of say. But at the end of the day, Miami is still in a driver's seat to make it to the college football playoff. Now, do they have the ability to have another slip up? I don't think so, because we know now in the new system that winning your conference championship game doesn't guarantee you a top 4 seed. So that's going to be critical when you're talking about the matchups that you have to go through, that gauntlet you may have to go through, where you see so many teams playing super well in the SEC, the Big Ten, and then I think at this point with another slip up, they may allow another Big 12 team outside of the Big 12 champion to be in that college football playoff, which makes Miami roll to the national championship a little bit more difficult. So opportunity for a slip up, I don't think so. This is clearly still one of the best 12 teams in the country when it's all said and done. But those small things with Mario Cristobal MO continue to show up when you look at the teams that they're playing on paper. It shouldn't even be a matchup, and he's finding himself losing those type of games.
Yeah, that margin for error just got so much smaller. We do all this talk about Miami, and we haven't even mentioned the team who made us get to this point, and that's Louisville, who played solid and did a lot. Got to get their hats to them.
The late, great head coach Bill Walsh used to always say the best trick play is the first trick play. And who ran the first trick play? It was Louisville, the fake field goal that got them the extra possession inside the 2-yard line, which subsequently got them the touchdown, the early lead. So they had a phenomenal game plan. You go out there, you run the football, you play great defense. You kind of punched Miami in the mouth. Miami looked like they hadn't been punched before. We were joking like, who made me bleed? So that's something that you like from a Louisville team, because, again, coming into this ball game, we kind of thought Louisville maybe was more finesse than power. Well, they went out there and showed that they are both physical. They also came in with finesse, and they came up with timely plays on both ends of both sides of the ball, and which helped them win this game. And now when you look at Louisville down the stretch, this could catapult them into now bigger conversations. It's like, hey, Louisville may be someone we have to take seriously moving forward.
There's a reason you have to go out and actually play the game, right? And we call that game day execution. Well, coming into the game, Miller Moss, wasn't as good as Carson Beck, right? On paper, Miller Moss, 68%. somewhat efficient, had a good running game. Isaac Brown averaging over, 7.5 yards a carry, and we really didn't think much of it, right? We didn't, but the one thing I did not think was going to happen in this matchup, I didn't think that Isaac Brown and that rushing attack for Louisville was going to outdo the rushing attack on the other side of the ball. That's what surprised me. 112, 130 yards to 63 yards rushing by the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, that to me, and look, and game pace and gameplay also takes paramount over everything. They got to a point in this game where Miami couldn't run the ball anymore.
Correct.
They needed their quarterback to bail them out. The defense had done enough and gotten them back into this game, but it was for their quarterback to step up and make those plays in that moment. So to me, look, when you're looking at evaluating this team, this was a bump in the road. It doesn't kill their season. It's not the end of the road, but it is something that, like you said, the margin of error has drastically decreased. They can't make another slip up, the rest of the season and expect to be in the college football playoff.
If anything, we can say it's just a reminder that as we sit here in October, there's a whole lot of time for things to still shake up come November and beyond for that college football playoff bracket.